Hello. There has been a lot of discussion in the media, on the news, and on the internet in different places about gender and who can use what restroom and trans this or trans that. And a lot of people are completely unaware of the direction this movement is going. And so they don't understand some of the consequences moving in this direction is causing. And I just want to make this to inform people so that people can make an educated decision about whether or not they want to support a movement that is directly against who they are just as a human being. And the title of this is Gender Equality and Postgenderism is Causing Singleness. Um, so let's get right into it. I'm not going to take any more time. I'm going to try to be as clear as possible. Uh, so when you hear gender equality, on the surface, it sounds like a good thing. You know, equal pay for women doing the same job as a man, or giving women the ability to vote, get an education, start businesses, and things like that, which I'm all for. But that's not the full extent of gender equality. See, gender equality goes to the degree of saying that a woman should be able to do anything that a man does, and a man should be able to do anything that a woman does. And if you treat a woman differently because she's a woman, they call that discrimination. Is that really discrimination in a negative sense to treat something different because it's different? See, gender equality is really a euphemism for gender neutrality. It's to neutralize the genders or not making any distinction between the genders. And that effectively is gender elimination. That's the end goal. That's what they want to do. They want to get rid of genders. And this is causing singleness because it's not just the labels they want to get rid of, because those are just words. It's the gender roles or creation roles they want to eliminate. And let me explain how this is causing singleness. See, the way relationships form or attract together in the roles that are inside of heterosexual relationships, it's kind of like whereas in magnetism, opposites attract. Now, let me be clear. I am not preaching laws of attraction and I am not preaching the secret, but I can use the laws of magnetisms to help illustrate the paradigm of how opposites attract and other properties I'm going to speak about. But I just need to make that clear first. See, in magnetism, when one end of a magnet gets in the circumference or is close to the opposite end of another magnet, there is a force that brings them together or cleaves them together or attracts them together. And the more polarized each end is, the stronger the force is to bring them together. But if you depolarize an end of a magnet, one end, that end that's depolarized, it won't attract to anything and it won't repel to anything. It'll just be out there hanging out. It won't have any response to the other charges. See, and it's like that when relationships form. Take, for an example, if a man is a real man and he says, hey, I want a woman that I can take care of, be there for, protect, provide, and be that man for her, that strong man for a woman. If he gets in the circumference of, or if he meets a woman taking on the role of a man, they'll repel, they'll clash. That won't form a relationship. But let a woman be in the complementary role, saying, yeah, that's what I want in a man, and she plays her role. That relationship will happen easy, and they'll come together, and they'll stay together. See, there's a whole lot of women walking around single now, educated and everything, good looking, and the situation of marriage or relationship won't happen for them because of the belief that gender equality is a good thing. Because your belief is going to determine what decisions you make. So a person that believes, oh, I don't have a role or I shouldn't subscribe to any gender role, then you won't really take a position. And it's hard for relationships to form. Even for men, there's a lot of men walking around single, and it seems like they can't find that woman that, that they deem is all right because they don't want to take a position because, we've kind of been taught to think this way. See, when we live in a nation where gender is being neutralized. And because of this, most of the relationships that are forming are what I like to call capitalistic relationships or pride based. These are relationships that are solely for a means of getting things or looking better than someone else. They are these type of relationships are are viewed like two businesses merging assets together. Hey, it looks like you have something good going on financially and you're educated and you have these resources. I kind of have that thing going on too. So let's come together to establish some type of partnership. See, those type of relationships are like for a financial structure and strategy rather than a structure like a bit like those type of relationships are like for a financial structure and strategy like a type of business entity and not really a structure or a strategy to raise a family. See, this is the whole focus or the thing behind being a power couple. It's just to get stuff or to have money or to look better than someone else. See, the focus of a power couple is not family, raising children. The focus of a power couple is looking better than someone else. It's money. See, when you're in a culture where your psychosexual development is being entrained by repetition through educational institutions, entertainment, and the media, that gender neutrality is a good thing and that creation roles or gender roles are bad things, then when a person's brain or when a person's brain's logic approaches a potential relationship situation, their brain won't take a position in the relationship because the position comes from the gender roles. And if you have no position in the relationship, or if you don't take a position, then there's no purpose to be in the relationship. If you go to work and they say, hey, you don't have a position here, then that basically means you don't have a purpose to be at that place. See, and because people don't want to secure a position or take a position and say, yeah, this is my gender role, I'm going to fulfill this as a man, or this is my gender role, I'm going to fulfill this as a woman, then they don't want to secure that. You can't secure a position if you don't believe in the position. And see, this is when people date and date and date forever and never get married, is because they don't feel confident enough to secure a position in their relationship. Because you have to embrace the gender role that you are subscribed to by your sex, male being, the leader, woman being the help for the man. And if you don't subscribe to that, then you won't take a position. So people just, they don't get married. They just say, well, we're going to stay together and we kind of married in heart or something like that, because mentally the brain's thinking money. This relationship may have a chance of compromising me making money. So, people may play around because they want their needs met or whatever. But as far as establishing a secure relationship for life, the brain is thinking money. The brain is like, no, unless this is going to add to my assets, I don't want it to jeopardize my money. So, and because of population control, and I'll get into that a little more later, they want to slow down the birth rate as they have been doing, and it's been working for the last 4 consecutive years. They don't want heterosexual relationships forming. They want to almost encourage. They want to almost push that as a bad thing. And and a way of doing that is trying to confuse the gender roles and to get people used to seeing men doing the things that women are doing, or to get people used to see women doing the things that men are doing, or taking all the leadership positions. They want to confuse people in the gender roles. They want to cause gender confusion to cause gender delusion, so they can try to restructure something the way they want. And this brings me to the next topic I want to talk about, which is the bathroom issue, which I think is really bizarre that there's even serious conversations about whether or not a man belongs in the woman's restroom. See, The concept of the different bathrooms in the past at least, was based on a person's sexual organ and not a person's belief, expression, feelings, or how they view themselves. In the past, we have seen bathroom signs that said male and female or men and women bathrooms, and we knew that these terms were synonymous with one another. That was all until the LGBT question mark P exclamation point less than sign asterisk activist group said they were said they were different even though they were the same. LGBT activists made up a difference between male and man and female and woman. They said male and female is a person's sex and man and woman is a person's gender expression. But being a man or a woman is not an expression because it is not relative to how a person feels. You are a man or a woman based on your sex and not a relative persona. To say male and man are two different things is a play on words, incorrect and deceitful in nature, because colloquially and historically, man and male is the same thing and woman and female is the same thing. The only difference is context. So in like scientific conversations, a person may use the terms male and female more, whereas in like literature or something, a person may use the terms man or woman more, like if they're telling a story or something. To make it fair and clear for everyone, why don't we just name the restrooms penises and vaginas? This will leave no room for discrimination and is 100% absolute, since man and woman is too confusing for some of the population. Because this is all a means to blur the lines of what it means to be a man or a woman, because ultimately they want everybody to just be genderless. They want to get rid of the genders. They want to have a genderless society. But they need to pervert the order of the gender roles. This is why next month in July, they are having a 1 million, or they're going to do a 1 million man ritual around a giant penis or phallus in Washington, D.C. to pray and try to release a spirit of perversion in America. You know, and that brings me to the next topic of what I like to call trans rise, or a rise in transgenderism. But, excuse me, I cannot talk about transgenderism without talking about transsexuality, because transsexuality is 100% impossible. It will and has never ever happened before, ever in human history, ever. There has never ever been a case of a male that has transformed into a female, because male and female is determined by a person's genetics. You know, 2 X's for female, X and a Y for male. Only if by somehow was a person able to have their genetic code rewritten and all of the blood replaced, could one person go from one sex to the other. But if this happened, it wouldn't be the same person anymore anyway. Which brings me to the question of how much can you modify a human before it's not human anymore? We'll talk about that later. But the LGBT knows that transsexuality is 100% impossible, so we don't hear this term anymore. The term we hear now is transgenderism, which by their definition is completely relative to how a person feels and has no scientific method for proof, because it is completely subjective to what a person thinks about themselves. So, considering what I just said, one would ask the question, why and how are there laws being passed for a group of people that are made up solely about how they feel about themselves? So they can be in basically one place in the law at 12 o'clock and then be in another place in the law at 2 o'clock and just have their standing change pertaining to our legal system and our laws. Their standing can change by the hour. Something's wrong with that. I think that speaks volumes that there is an agenda here. And I'm telling you what the agenda is. The agenda is to get everybody transgender. You know, and it's not everybody trying to have a sex change, but it's trying to emasculate men and emasculate women to get the embodiment of both. They want everybody to be transgender. See, because transgenderism holds the image of what they want everybody to eventually conform to. It is to be the embodiment of a man and a woman, to be genderless or having no creation roles or reason to be created. This is why the suicide rates are highest among the LGBT. See, we are in the initial stages for everyone to be altered to the image of Baphomet, or the word or term they're going to use in the political arena and in social events. They're not going to use the word Baphomet because Baphomet is clear that what they're doing is demonic. But they're going to use the term Postgenderism, which is a society without genders. See, and another thing, LGBT supporters say that people should be able to love who they want, which totally, I agree. People should be able to love who they want, but nobody's trying to stop love. Why do LGBT supporters always equate love to sex? Can they not love someone without being sexual with them? If they can't, that's perverted. See, the goal is to live without genders because they believe genders are to the detriment of individuals in society. But people should be told the truth about why we have gender roles and how men and women being different is a good thing, and how when men and women come together, have children and raise those children are good and full of light. See, we wouldn't have a need for all of these corrective movements and organizations to help, disenfranchise people out if people weren't disenfranchised. And if men and women would fulfill their gender roles, i.e. the reason they were created in the first place, which is to be fruitful and multiply. I know many people may be scared to say something about these topics or may not know what to say or what is right, but you can help spread the truth of what I'm saying here by help spreading this video and sharing this video. Thank you very much for listening, and fulfill your creation roles. God bless you. See,